Sellers are seeing 5 to 10 of your competitors the moment they opt into your ad. The question isn't whether you're getting leads, it's whether those leads trust you enough to pick up the phone when you call. In this office hours session, I broke down the full pre-selling system. Everything that needs to happen between the opt-in and the sales call, so your closers aren't starting from zero every single conversation. Let's get into it.
All right. In this office hours, we are going to cover something that a lot of marketers are not going to teach you in the real estate space, or they don't even know about it, to be honest. So I'm actually going to cover how to make people to show up more to their appointments, and how do we make people to actually be more bought in into your service, into your product. In this case, selling the house to you before they ever talk to you. And if they do talk to you, they will have a much higher level of awareness and consciousness that you are the right person to actually, take care of this issue, right? And the reason why a lot of people don't do this because they don't know how sophisticated the market have become in the last 3 years, 4 years, where the algorithm of Google and Facebook have changed so much. Well, sellers have become a lot more aware of what is going on in the market, and obviously the news, media, and all that stuff. And they're a lot more aware that there's a lot of companies that can help with buying houses, and there is a lot more companies that are putting ads out there. Even though they're not the best ads, there's a lot more companies that are putting ads out there, and that makes them see a lot of your competitors on the screen, makes them see a lot of competitors on Google as they search, or on Facebook as they search, Instagram as they do like scrolls and whatever, right? So every single time that they opt in into an ad, whether it's like Google or Facebook and Instagram, they will see like 5 to 10 other competitors right after that. So if you guys have ever noticed that if you are opting into a coaching program, or maybe I don't know, a health product or shoes or whatever, what was before is that these platforms will give you one or two competitors right after, and then they will show other products based on the algorithm. But now, since the last update of Andromeda, for example, on Facebook and Instagram, if you go to Google and you search for something, then they go back to Facebook and Instagram, they'll see the same type of product and the competitors of that product over and over and over and over and over and over. So it'll be, they opt in once and they'll see the first ad after, it will be a competitor of yours. The next ad after, it will be another competitor of yours. The next ad after, it will be another competitor of yours, and so on until it optimizes for as many conversions as possible. And what this causes is a problem of oversaturated knowledge, and essentially super highly aware people that are aware of what's going on, of the options, of the market. And now they're being bombarded by different options at all times, and making the trust levels a lot lower, because they see so many options that they stop trusting that there is only one person that can actually help them. But how do we actually fix that? And how do we actually like make them show up to your appointment if they opt into your calendar? How do we make them pick up the phone? How do we make them be more bought into your product when you call them or when they show up to the appointment? So we're going to cover all of that today, because there's a method to this madness, and we can always figure that out by essentially, and I covered this last week, we need to understand what is the entire click to close process. So as you guys remember, last week we covered the click to close journey and what it does. I mean, what needs to happen in marketing before we get them to see our ads, how it all works. And if you guys haven't watched that video, I created a video, I uploaded it on YouTube, and how we need to essentially attract the right individual using the right marketing angle and the right lingo and language, and essentially understanding that there's a specific ICP and buyer persona that will be compelled to your message. And then they go to another set of like they go through a funnel where once you get their attention and they go to your funnel, they opt into your funnel. Again, they could come from any different from any marketing channel. You're gonna make them opt in, and this is all called the pre-selling process. They have not actually been sold just yet in your product, and at this point, once they opt in, this is where they start seeing a lot of more competitors from the same product and the same service. And this, in your case, they'll see a lot more cash offer ads. They'll see a lot more buy your house, sell your house. They'll see a lot more of that. So the biggest differentiator here, it's going to be something called the VSL and video sales letter, and the ecosystem that you create around it. So right after they opt in, you want them to essentially like consume as much content of you. So consume as much as 7 to 11 hours of content in order to help them make a decision. This is a statistic done by Google by essentially evaluating multiple CRMs, multiple data points after someone opts in, of how long they actually take and how much they actually take in order to do a buying decision, or in this case, selling the house. So it's 7 to 11 hours of content. So last video, I talked about how everyone needs to have a YouTube channel in order to now build a lot more trust. But we're gonna dive into the details of how we make people to opt in, book an appointment, show up at a 50 to 70% appointment show up ratio, and then there will be more bought in, so that in the sales conversation, you guys are not pulling teeth, but rather you're just solving their current issues, but they're more bought in about you and your service, right? So going back to the funnel, someone opts in, they get scored with the lead scoring system, they book an appointment, potentially. We want about 50% of people to book appointment at minimum. And then you hit them with a value dense content with emails and text messages, and you give them a thank you page that serves as a credibility package. That landing page will have a video sales letter that would cover the 6 main desires and cover the main objections that they would not normally would have, as well as case studies, testimonials, and free resources. And we're going to cover that. We're going to see that in a minute. And then you're going for the sales part, which is you calling them really quickly, either to do a triage discovery call, and they're supposed to book a call with a closer, obviously, right? If they do book a call with a closer. But since we need to have speed to lead, I'm going to put that here, speed to lead. During the speed to lead session, that's where we want to ultimately start our first conversation to either triage the person or book an appointment, or potentially, if your closer is the one doing the speed to lead, potentially do a one, right? But during this time, there's a few things that could happen to make your conversion higher. You do speed to lead, you do a triage call. The triage call is basically a full discovery of what's going on. You uncover all the obstacles, finances, decision-making, urgency, trust, and then you send them to an appointment with your closer or acquisition manager, where you make them actually watch a lot more content before they ever talk to the closer, right? So if the case that they do not book an appointment, you'll do speed to lead, you'll do a triage, and then potentially book it with a closer. And that, the best one would be like the same day type of appointment, right? Now, if they do book an appointment, you want the appointment to be directly with the closer so that you could triage and then make sure that they we are aware of the obstacles and make sure that they still receive enough content before they talk to the closer. So we're going to talk about that content that needs to happen right after the opt-in and the content that needs to happen before they talk to the closer, how you're going to essentially reinforce their decision-making process, right? So I call it the homework or the pre-demo or the pre-offer, right? The pre-pitch, right? And it's a high-value, dense content that needs to happen for them to be more about it, okay? So here's a few best practices checklists for generating high-quality, motivated sellers that actually show up to the appointment. So I'm gonna go over one by one. So front-end funnel optimization. We need to make sure that they're messaging with the pain points that people have. So for example, avoiding foreclosure, inheritance property, or different type of challenges that people normally have are obviously in the ad, right? So all the messaging needs to match the ad copy, the landing page, confirmation page, and all the follow-up emails need to essentially solve some sort of promise or issue that they currently that we're telling them that we can solve. So this is why it's important that whenever we have people in the front end, let's say they do come in and we know the pain, for example, they're looking to avoid foreclosure. Let's just say that they choose that pain point, that the messaging, the copy that we send them after needs to have avoiding foreclosure. That's the landing page, confirmation page, follow-up emails, right? That helps them solve that specific issue, right? Now, obviously, if you guys were coming in here for Brian, I know you got a question right in there. You got a question real quick?
Yeah, related to what you said there, it makes a lot of sense to have the ad. You were trying to target my favorite too, foreclosures and probates, right? Divorce lead is like, whatever, but foreclosures and probate. So you have a campaign specifically targeting foreclosure people, then you have to have different landing pages for each different campaign. Or do you have like spinner words that knows what they're searching for and then the landing page changes? Like, how do you do that in practice?
Yeah, for sure. So long story short, basically what you do is you can play with the conditional logic of your forms, and as soon as you get the information, if let's say someone has given you the pain point of avoiding foreclosure, you can send them directly to a landing page that has a lot more wording about that situation. But there could be.
So after you've captured them in the lead form, and then if they enter foreclosure in the landing page, then they go to the foreclosure page that's got all the foreclosure content.
Yeah. So let's map it out right here. So for example, it's
from
always
the campaign, right from Google, depending on their search term, they would go to a different website.
Yeah. So this landing page that I talked last week or 2 weeks ago, I talked about a landing page that is basically your it's going to be your credibility package, right? Let's call it like that. So this landing page essentially, which tells you, okay, so these are the next steps for your home buying process. And then we tell them, okay, you booked an appointment, watch this. And then in the frequently asked questions, for example, we can just put specific things about foreclosure, right? And then in this video, we talk about how we also help people in foreclosure. And in this, in the headline, sorry, not in the headline, but in the where is it? Okay, so in the frequently asked questions, you want to be able to solve as many pain points, and you want to be able to solve as many obstacles. Now, I just copy pasted this one from Remote Latinos, so don't mind this. But you want to be able to solve as many frequently asked questions for that specific demographic. Now, it could get complicated if you have different landing pages. So what I prefer to do is that right now we're sending, people have different pain points. We're sending them to one landing page, and that landing page will have different frequently asked questions that solve different pain points. So, but people will be able to choose to watch those specific videos about those specific pain points. All right. Now, the way that I have it, and I'm gonna show you real quick here. I think it's this one. All right. So the way I have it right here is we got your questions answered, and then these are going to be the pain points, challenges, or objections that normally have. So it's in this case, 2 columns, right? 2 columns right in here that is answering a few questions that they normally would have. And I'm all times telling them in this video how we're solving that specific issue. So this video right here that is long, long enough, is solving this specific issue. It's telling them how we solve that specific issue. Now, this VSL have a specific framework that you need to follow in order to get them to stick to watch the entire thing. But we're also breaking it down in here in the FAQ area. Now, there's many ways to break down FAQs. You can do it like one list, you can do it 3 columns, you can do it 2 columns, and so on. But this is value dense information that people will need. The best thing to do, to be honest, if you were to be putting some time into it, as soon as they opt in, then there'll be different pain points, right? So let's see. Let me put them in here. So as soon as they opt in, there'll be different pain points. Let me just do, here's an example. So you got, foreclosure, you got inherited, you got divorce, right? You got probate, you got, health issues, you got financial constraints, right? Well, there's many different pain points that we can put together here. The best thing is that in the opt-in, in the actual form, there is a conditional logic, right, that sends them value dense content here. So value dense content, emails, text messages, and it has a workflow for that specific pain point that you're covering, right? So you're essentially helping them solve that specific issue, right? And then also, of course, that's going to include showing them a landing page in that sequence that solves that specific issue, right? So that's one part of it. That's a small part of it, All right, let me continue here. All right, so we're gonna make sure that the front end, it matches what we're actually showing. And if we are going to optimize the landing page, right? The landing page, we need to make sure that we are, we're still talking about here the front end part of the entire marketing ecosystem. We gotta be able to reaffirm the ads promise. So for example, if we're promising something that everyone does, which is sell your house in 7 days, you gotta be able to reaffirm it. But what's been working for us is that, we're doing a much different offer than other people. So we're not only saying that we can sell their house in less than 7 days, but we also telling them that we will outbid any other offer by over $5,000, or our offers are higher by $5,000 in average than any other investor out there, or we can buy in different ways other than just giving them a one straight low cash offer, right? Anyways, and then there's a video sales letter that is ultimately going to explain how the process works and why it's risk-free. I'm going to show you some examples of that. Now, this is like if you guys were to run your own ads, right? If you guys are doing PPL, then they should have this ones. If you guys are running your own ads, you should have this specific framework. And I'll walk you guys through how the thank you page also has a video sales letter in order to tell them how things work in a more detailed way and covering a few of the pain points that they have, like I actually have showed. We always got to have social proof sections. So the best ones are actually this homeowner was here before, and now this homeowner is here now. And those are like videos and screenshots of testimonials that you guys always need to have. And then ultimately, what you guys want to do is, in order for people to book an appointment, you got to make them feel that they're going to get something out of the call, right? So it needs to be as frictionless as possible as soon as they're actually going to book an appointment. So one thing that we do is that once they finish the opt-in process, we want them to book an appointment, self-book appointment into our closer's calendar. So I'll show you guys essentially how it looks like. I'm gonna go here. And we have this one specifically real quick. So I'll show you guys as an example. So if I complete this form in here, let me see if this one is connected. There you go. So we gotta have a next page that loads really quickly that makes it super simple for them to actually book an appointment. So it's as simple as telling them, hey, your cash offer get your cash offer quicker by scheduling your exclusive offer call, and cash offer loading. We're adding a few scarcity and urgency features in here. And then here's the calendar of the closer so that they actually book in a specific appointment. Here we can further qualify, or we can make it simple if we have asked enough questions prior to this. But here we can further qualify. But the reason why we're doing this is because we want to make sure that they are more bought in and they have a higher intention. They have a high intention, because when people actually book an appointment, they mark it in their calendar and they have it there in front of them, right? Now they are a lot more incentivized of actually talking with someone, right? So they fill out this form. We want to make sure that this is sticky based on the answers that they give us, so they don't have to like fill it out again. And you can leave a lot of these questions actually as optional. But if you guys have some qualifying questions that you guys want to ask, like for example, what's the minimum amount of cash offer that you're willing to take? Or how are you flexible in your asking price? And how would you like to sell, like how soon you like to sell your house? And you want to ask it and make it as a must. You guys can do that in order to further qualify this individual so that you have those notes for the appointment. Now, after they book an appointment, that's where the thank you page comes in. That's what we take as a credibility package, which I'm going to walk you guys through that. Okay. All right, let me go here. So in the form, it's normally 7 to 10 questions max. Got to keep the friction balance enough to show that you're serious, but not overwhelming to people. And, essentially avoiding dumb friction questions. We got to make sure that we do pain-based questions. Now, the conditional logic actually comes from the features itself. So for example, Go High Level or Typeform or many other different form features, form apps actually have conditional logic. So you want to use that conditional logic as you ask the question, for example, of your motivation, to send them specific things in a workflow right after they opt in. If you're getting leads from, let's say, PPL, like tell the PPL provider to map out the motivation to your webflow, sorry, to your webhook. All right. So the motivation needs to be mapped out to the webhook. So that way you can check the motivation and then ultimately send specific material to them. If they are doing PPL, if you guys are doing PPL, then you can't necessarily show them a thank you page, but you can do a text message follow-up, an email follow-up. And in that text message, you can send them a specific short link of your credibility package, right? And also in the email. And then in the email, you could have sequencing of value dense content about that specific pain point that they actually opted in for. If they opt in for, like, let's say other, sometimes people answer the motivation to be other, then you can just give them a generalized value dense content. All right. So, and then you ask intent-based questions. Obviously, this is what we do in the front end. But in the back end, this is what does a lot of the pre-selling, we gotta be able to do a lot of, let's say, activation points before they talk with us, and hopefully instantly in the same day that they actually like opt in, so that they have enough information, enough knowledge of us, that it's easier to have a conversation. So when we call them and they don't have your phone number, but when you call them, they're already hyper aware of what company we are talking about, right? So we're gonna have this confirmation page, right? This is where we talk about the pre-selling system, right? So the pre-selling system ultimately compounds all of this right in here. Pre-selling process. It contains the value dense content, emails, text messages, and the landing page. It also contains the case studies, testimonials, and free resources. And this can be transformed in a PDF, in a landing page, and also in a video, which you can include the video in the landing page. So let me walk you through this. So in the confirmation page, you want to be able to thank them and confirm the next step. So that's why in here, where is it? There you go. That's why in here, I'm actually telling them what is the next step and the important things that they need to do right here. Then we want to be able to add an urgency video. So explaining why showing up to the call is crucial, or in this case, if they have not booked an appointment just yet, well, why essentially watching everything below that we're going to send them is crucial for any call that we're going to give them, right? And obviously, like if they already booked an appointment, then you telling them, hey, you booked an appointment, great. Let's make sure that you're prepared for the appointment by watching the material below. If you have not booked an appointment just yet, we're gonna give you guys a call from a number, X number, whatever, and there is some crucial information that we need you to watch prior to this, so you are fully educated and fully knowledgeable about how we do things and what's in it for you, right? And this is where we actually could expand into a more longer VSL. I'm gonna show you guys how I actually have it set up. Then after that, the FAQs, or let's say breakout videos, it could be a 3-column, 2-column, or list of normal challenges or normal objections that they not actually come up with about their specific pain point and about specifically them selling the house to anybody, right? So FAQs essentially could be like, okay, my house is in foreclosure. How are you gonna make sure to sell it? To buy it, right? And then you can answer that. And then questions like, okay, what's gonna happen in the call? Do I need to clean my property first? How do I get paid? Do we need to really use a realtor? Are you going to help me move if I need help moving out of state? or even if I need help moving because I don't have anywhere to go. Is this something you can help me with? Like normal objections or normal concerns that people would actually have. Come up with a list, put it into the breakout videos, add it as FAQs, and actually create a video about it, right?
So,
And
like, are you saying like one 1 or 2 minute video for each FAQ? So when they click on it, it's you explaining and overcoming the objection, basically.
yes, 100%. And that's why it's also good to have a YouTube channel, because you can actually put those videos, let's say, for example, in here. Let me go back to the one that I have. You can put those videos into, one sec. You can embed the video right here, this video, for example. These are case studies, and I'll walk you guys through that. But these are case studies that are in our YouTube, right? So basically, when they're clicking on our YouTube, and YouTube would normally recommend other videos that are like it. So this one is recommending another case study. Then they'll be able to click on it, watch it, and if they are curious enough or they want to find out more, they'll find out your YouTube channel with all the other videos that you have, with the case studies, testimonials, with the frequently asked questions, and so on, right? So that's why it's important to have it. Now, this breakout videos right here, the way that my team did it was a list. I personally prefer 3 columns or 2 columns videos, but this one, when I open it, it's a video as well, right? Now, I personally prefer it like this, 3 columns, right? We have A/B tested a few ones. I prefer 3 columns to 2 columns so that people can have, based on the title, can watch something specifically that they want to watch, right? Like they can choose specifically which video to actually watch, right? So those are the breakout videos. Then after that, you would see the testimonials and more trust signals. So this could be case studies, interviews that you guys have done with your, with your clients, right? And that could be short clips as well. So if you haven't done it, get in a call with your sellers, get in a Zoom call, and then just record a video with them, right? And then put it into your YouTube channel, and then embed it into that. Now, guys, like if you guys don't know how to do a landing page, I'll give you guys a template, but Go High Level now has the ability to create landing pages using AI. So you only need to feed the landing page template, basically, and then go to ChatGPT and say, like, ChatGPT, read this landing page. I want you to copy the structure, the exact structure, and I want you to give me the exact prompt for me to put into the Go High Level landing page builder, and then you copy paste in the landing page builder AI builder for Go High Level, and then Go High Level will give you the exact landing page. You don't need to become like a landing page expert, or you don't need to hire a landing page expert anymore because you have AI. You can even build it with Claude, right? But I prefer Go High Level and so on, even though I use Lovable and Claude for landing pages at some point. But anyways, and then at the end, you could give them a downloadable asset. So you can create a guide. For example, here's an optional thing: 3-step guide for selling assets for cash. So the downloadable asset could be a button that goes to this document, right? Or it could be an opt-in form that allows them to download that, and you will know whether they download it or not. But as long as you guys have this in your confirmation page, we call it the confirmation page or credibility page, right? Or this could be like the pre-offer page. You can call it whatever you want to call it. As long as you have this, you'll be able to send that specific link every single time to sellers and add tremendous amount of value to them, make them understand that how you can actually help them specifically. And that way, And that way you have someone that have consumed your content a lot more, right? Okay, let me actually, before I go into the automated nurture system with value dense content, let me actually walk you guys through how this, you know, pre-offer video actually kind of works, because I made it in here. I made it for all my businesses, and we make every single appointment setter tell the prospect, you need to watch these videos and you need to actually do your homework before we get into a call, because it gives you so much clarity about what we do, how we do it, and what's in it for you. So, but that way, this VSL essentially is positioned in a way that pre-sells our company in a perfect way, right? And addresses every single concern, addresses every single pain point, and like keeps them engaged and watch more content. We also talk about the case studies. We also talk about the testimonial. But basically, this VSL right in here that you guys need to create it only once will go through basically the entire credibility package, basically, right? And if it's done properly, this watching that one video will pre-sell the entire will pre-sell all the homeowners on your company, right? So
Esteban, are you going to share with us one of these websites so we can watch some of these VSLs and copy it?
yeah, 100% for sure. I will
It's such an
100%.
aha moment because I've been through other funnels like Remote Latinos or acquisitions.com or whatever, and you got to watch the Hormozy video. He overcomes all the objections before you have them. It's such a no-brainer that I get everywhere. I don't know why I never thought to put it on the wholesaling website. I don't
Yes.
think many operators are doing this. Everyone has the generic capture page, and then that's the end of it.
Yeah. I've seen the people. So there are some companies that are doing like 3 to 4 mil a month on real estate that I actually looked in their funnels, and they do have those videos. But I mean, they have like a large team. They're already kind of like gone through the kinks and all that stuff. But a lot of them, they do have those videos. Like they're very into branding. Like whenever you're in that size, right? Let's say you're doing 3 mil a month in real estate, flipping, wholesaling, all that stuff. Their big play is brand, because at the end of the day, that's what it is, right? So the more you brand, the more people are gonna feel like, I actually know them, I can trust them, they're the right guys, I consume enough content of them. Now, I do know that there is 10 different competitors after I click the ad, but they fucking look legit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The other guys, they don't even have a website, or that you've never seen them before. When they recognize your face, then they trust you.
Yeah, so these are only points that you add to your sales process, right? Because like the pre-selling process or the pre-selling system, what it's meant to do is to remove as much let's say indecision or fear before the call, right? Remove as much fear, remove as much, increase the trust, remove as many potential limiting beliefs that people have before the call with the closer, right? So that way the conversation, instead of like trying to gain trust in the call, you already have the trust. Now you're just solving problems, right? In the call, in the sales call, right?
I have one quick question for you about the video testimonials for us nationwide virtual guys. I've finally got some good Google reviews, but I don't have any videos. I'll start trying to collect them. But what's your thoughts on having some actors to get some placeholders until we get real ones?
That's a little bit risky. You could do it. I don't know if I want to recommend that, but I don't have actors in my testimonials, right? Because like I literally just call my clients and be like, hey man, like I know we just did something good and you would do me such a huge favor and other people if you give me a good video. And if if you're okay with it, I'll give you like a $30 Starbucks gift card or $50 Starbucks gift card. Just do me a really good video, something like that, right?
Mhm.
And some people will do it for free, right? But do you have any homeowners to call and they'd be like, yo, like let's let's help, let's work something out here?
Yeah, yeah, I can at least get a couple.
Because like for whatever you're gonna pay the actors, don't do UGCs, don't do AIs for sure.
No,
Don't do AIs. But whatever you're gonna pay the actors, just pay it to the homeowner. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know how much you're gonna pay the actor, but like give them a gift card on that. And some homeowners will be like, man, like you help me, don't worry, I'll do it for free. Like give them a Starbucks coffee, or give them a like whatever they normally do in the day-to-day gift card. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
That would be the best. And then what you can do is just like get them on a quick Google Meet or Zoom and just do an interview. You talk about what was the result they got, who is it that they are, what was it before meeting with you, what is it that they loved of the process, and what is it working with you, about working with you, and how is it working with you, and then whether they would recommend someone else, right? Like do that basically framework on asking questions and see if you can get it that way. Yeah, I
yeah.
wouldn't
We'll start
recommend
getting some.
I wouldn't recommend actors. What I did do though is that if you have done favors to others, let's say loan officers, agents, other investors, or whatever, and they know that you are such a trustworthy guy, right? Tell them, bro, like I need a testimonial for my homeowners to know that I'm legit, that like I'm a real person. And ask them like, hey, could you do a testimonial for me? And then they'll be like, hey man, I've worked with Brian for 2 years. He's a stand-up guy. He's a great guy to work with. He's helped many homeowners in their situation. Like kind of like giving you credibility. What I would do that because I did that at the very beginning. You know what I mean?
Right. Just until we have more.
Yes, 100%. Yeah,
Got
sounds
it.
good.
Thanks.
All right. So let's go over that VSL real quick. That homework video. Just so you guys give you a lot more context, a little bit more context. This is nothing new. In the online world of coaches, gurus, consultants, big companies, and so on, good YouTube videos are also VSLs, where you think you're not being sold, but in reality, you're actually being sold, right? And good company videos that allow their customers to trust them even more are really video sales letters. It's just that nobody knows what's the framework behind it. So I'm going to explain it to you guys today. So the video that you guys embed on that landing page, for example, in here, right, for them to watch, it's going to be a video that first positions yourself as the authority, as the expert, as the person that will give certainty, transfer conviction, and create familiarity, right? So in here, what you want to do is you want to make sure that you tell them that you're a real investor, that you've done this, and that you want to take care of them because they currently have an issue. So most homeowners here come into the call skeptical and uninformed, and they've never sold a house to an investor before, or they essentially been, lowballed many times. So they expect lowball offers, scams, or high pressure sales. So this, by giving authority, certainty, and familiarity in the first 3 seconds, will help you stand out a lot more, right? First 3 to 5 seconds. And then you can, do a really good intro that takes, 30 seconds about this and what's the authority you have, the certainty and the familiarity that you're going to solve this specific problem, right? So we're going to be pre-selling the process. So the first section is going to be like this: expectation control, and ultimately setting a clear agenda of what's going to happen, like essentially framing how they're going to go about watching the video and the next steps and so on. So setting clear call expectations, filtering it out unqualified or unserious homeowners. So things like, for example, make sure you're in a quiet place and have all decision makers present, or have your spouse or have anybody that is going to help you make a decision on selling your house, so that we can have a really good conversation about this. And then you're going to tell them why you're probably here. So you got to be able to build some empathy before we go into logical mode. So here, this section is essentially to sell the idea that we're here to solve a pain, not do a transaction. Done, right? So we want to tell them, like, if you're here, it's because you're probably going through a lot of difficult situations, like being behind on payments, having inherited property, maybe you need to relocate, maybe you're trying to avoid foreclosure, and that's okay. We've had many different homeowners that come to us with the exact same situation, and we've helped over 1,000 homeowners just like you sell fast without stress or agent commissions and so on, right? And this one will validate their pain and the issues that they currently have, because we want to start with pain. So if you're here, it's because you have this pain. And then also kind of like disqualifies the people that don't have a pain. So be like, so if you just want to sell a house just because you want to get rid of it, but don't really have a actual reason to do it, this might not be probably I work with. You may want to work with an agent. However, we do have a team of agents that can help you as well, in case you do want to sell it, on the market, just because you want to upgrade the house or whatever, right? Let's say, for example. So you want to be able to disqualify people, but if you do good lead gen, obviously you're going to be talking mostly with people that are motivated for some reason, right? Then you want to be able to talk about your credibility. So this is a transition I was just doing already. Like we've helped over 100 homeowners kind of sell their house fast, and many of them have different type of issues like pre-foreclosure, or they inherited a house that didn't want, or they had to go through a underlying disease that made them move out of state or whatever. Here you want to be able to add credibility. So this is kind of like 2 minutes of the video itself, where you're going to be able to show authority, right? So this section ultimately positions you as a specific authority, or as this credible individual that they didn't know about, but you're giving them all your highlights. So, for example, we've been in the game since 2019. We've helped over 150 homeowners. We have 50 testimonials or 100 testimonials in 100 Google reviews in our Google review. We have 20 what was this thing? Not Trustpilot, but a BBB reviews. We have over 50 interviews with showing all our homeowners on our YouTube channel how they've been able to change their life with our process, and we do this every single week, right? So you want to be able to stack as much proof as possible. This happens in the very first 2 minutes and so on, right? Then after that, you want to talk about some sort of unique value proposition or unique mechanism that you normally use in order to solve this problem. So this is what a lot of people don't do, and they never actually name, or they never actually package their their service or their process in a way. They just say like, oh, I'm gonna buy you a house. So instead, you could always be like, so we use our home buying partner method, or we use our, you know, so you can call, you can call it something like, for example, this is an example. It's like the homeowner freedom program, like the homeowner freedom program, to help you sell your house fast, cash, uh, fast, no hassles, no repairs. And a lot of the times we can also become, we can give you multiple offers for the same house, right? So you essentially are creating some sort of unique mechanism that they've never heard of, and it's unique to you. And this also essentially puts you in a different category. It puts you in a category that, okay, this person is not like every other one that is saying we buy houses, not like a generic buyer or something like that. It actually positions you as a unique solution provider. That is the real truth that we can do. And this is a way to market yourself at any given point, whether that you're doing a YouTube video, whether that you're doing an email, whether you're doing a pitch, right? Like if you're pitching, use your unique mechanism or unique value proposition. It's like, wow, you guys are called the Home Buying Freedom Program, and you guys, do more than 3 offers. That's crazy. I've never heard of that, right? So that's something a lot of people are not doing. This is how you differentiate yourself. Then you can talk about social proof. So after you've done the unique mechanism thing, talk about the different clients that you actually have helped. So go specific. At the beginning, we talk about the credibility, which is like we've helped 50 clients, 100 clients, whatever. But in this case, you want to talk about a specific client. So for example, go and give an example with Carlos. Carlos was a homeowner located in Maryland, and he had to move out of state because his grandmother or his mother got sick. And that way, and when he came with us, he was getting so many lowball offers. He was not able to sell it on the market. He was stuck with the house, causing him a lot of stress. And we walking through the Freedom Home Buyer Program, and he was able to sell the house in just less than 10 days. Not only that, we helped them move to Maryland by paying for some of his expenses, and he was able to get back with his mother. Like, that's just an example, right? So you talk about specific case studies. Again, quickly, result, who they are, what was it before working with you, what is it that you guys did specifically, the step by step, and then why they're happy, right? Like super quickly, very fast, kind of talking about that testimonial. Then you can talk about the specific step by step on how you actually work, right? So a lot of people miss doing this, or a lot of people only do this. But the thing is that this is where we become more logical. This is where in the video, we essentially explain to them how the entire process works. So step number 1, we evaluate your house. We go and visit, their house to see how many repairs it needs. So, then we give you an offer. You choose the offer. Then we close. Then after you close, this is what happens. Tell them step by step, so they are essentially aware of the roadmap that needs to happen. This way, you don't have to like sell people on the process. You just need to essentially sell people of like why you're the best one to solve this specific problem, right? And then at the end, there's something called the risk reversal that removes fear of the unknown. So essentially, what you want to do is you want to have a few slides saying, okay, what if this is a waste of my time? What if they lowball me? What if I can, what if something, right? So you use few slides talking about the different objections that normally people have at the end. This is what normally people kind of like question themselves before they talk to us. So you will explain every single challenge or objection that people would have in that video, right? So if you normally have, let's say, normally you would have different objections, and you put them into that list. That way, they are aware of that specific objection and the answer to that objection. So they are, whenever you're calling them, now they're a lot more prepared. They already have like digested and understand that there is a solution to this objection. And if there's something that you consistently get in there, it's best to also put it in there. You can also put it into the breakout sessions, into the breakout videos, right? And at the end, it will be a section where you actually see that the call that they're gonna give you, or that the call that you're gonna give them, or the essentially the meeting that they have actually set up. It's a win-win type of situation, right? So you want to essentially frame that this call that they're going to go to is an opportunity. And this video, guys, is okay if you guys actually do it for 10 minutes. 7 to 10 minutes is a good video length or something like that. You guys can go as long as 15 minutes if you want to, just so that it's more digestible. If it is too long, you guys can put in the landing page, you guys can put like specifically like investor saying, you can play it at 1.5x, which is the video player, right? 1.5x in order to speed it up. But it should be 7 to 10 minutes, kind of like a sweet spot. Go all the way to 15 minutes. It's totally okay. Someone raise their hand. Who raised their hand? Nobody. All right. So this is kind of like the framework of that VSL. I have essentially some sort of template in here, so you guys can use it. I'm actually going to take this in here. I'm going to put it into this lead journey. So boom, homework video. Gonna give you guys the access to this Lucid chart, so you guys can have it in here. Boom. Let me know if this is valuable so far, guys. And I know that we have a lot of material covered so far, but hope it's not super overwhelming. I hope it's very knowledgeable, very helpful. Shareable view. Nice. Okay, what's this? Boom. So this is the ultimate framework, guys. I'm gonna give you guys this, this document, of course. Now, for the last few parts, all right, we got about 3 parts actually. Automated nurture and reminder sequences of the call, right? Now, this is where a lot of people get it somewhat wrong, because they either don't send or don't send enough. If you already have the pain point and you already have it in the conditional logic that we talked about for the form, it's totally okay to send them 3 to 6 messages per day. That includes emails about that specific pain point, not about random stuff, about that specific pain point. How do you get that document? I'm going to put it into the description, and also I'm going to put it into the Google chat right in here real fast. All right. So you guys have conditional logic. You figure out what the pain point is of that person, and then now you're going to give them a value dense content. All right. This is emails, this is some SMS, but if you want to give them large amount of content, email works best, or sending them to your YouTube channel, right? So what you want to happen is for them to binge watch you and binge read you, right? And this is specific to their pain point. So let's say they say avoid pre-foreclosure, avoid foreclosure, right? So now you're gonna create 3 to 6 emails in the next 48 hours. You're gonna send it to them, and you're gonna answer the specific issues on how you solve avoiding pre-foreclosure. So you create that specific email material, right? With good email. Claude creates great email if it has like a copywriting skill, by the way. And that is going to include ultimately credibility, how you help other people like that, the process, specific objections about selling their house that they're going to lose on foreclosure, and then just ultimate proof, basically, right? So you want to be able to like create that specific material for them where you can educate them and reassure them, right? This is not just about reminders. So put value in the email itself first, and not just like a link. So as an example, the email needs to have enough material. So for example, if you guys have 3 specific steps to avoid pre-foreclosure, put it in the email. Like, this is how we avoid foreclosure in less than 7 days. That's a subject line, right? And then the email will talk about the 3 steps, and then at the end you can have a link to either the credibility package, right, the landing page, or a link to the YouTube channel, so that they can start binge watching you even more. And let's say your YouTube channel has enough videos, then they're going to be watching those videos. Send them to the link directly to that YouTube video that is specific to foreclosure, for example, or about working with you, working on with you as a company, right? So you can do that, and that will essentially help you create massive value before. There's another one called the Hammer Dams retargeting strategy. So you guys can also take every single contact that you guys get. So every single lead, every single appointment, and you guys can just run very simple Instagram and Facebook ads, or even YouTube ads that are just video content ads. So short form videos about, success stories, quick offer explanations, walking through the unique mechanism. It's just retargeting ads at very low cost for every single one of the leads that you guys generate. What it does is that it hammers them with content. Remember how we talked about how we need to make them watch at least 7 to 11 hours of content before they ever make a decision? Well, as soon as they opt in, and as soon as they essentially book an appointment or you get the lead, you're also going to send that information back to Facebook and Instagram, right? And then you're going to essentially boost or run ads of very valuable short form videos that talk about seller success stories, or talking about this, right? What is this? I do not have courses available in Spanish, but I'm pretty sure I can make them in the future, or there'll be a translation feature and so on. So this is a strategy that you guys can talk about with your marketing agency or your marketer. All right. The next one, this is also something that you guys need to do better at utilizing your appointment setter or SDR, is that this was a game changer after I actually added it. Your human can send a selfie video after they book an appointment or after the lead has been generated. So your human can go and say like, hey, name, I just saw your request about selling your house. Excited to talk. Here's a quick video explaining what happens next. Boom, send the link to the video. And you can do it with iMessage. You can do it with WhatsApp to the homeowner, whatever, right? Just by doing that video, just by doing that quick video, it shows humanity, right? Now, the founder can also do it as well. It just takes a lot, takes some time and disrupt. But if you have someone that is good, like your appointment setter, your lead manager, or even your closer that can actually do it and send this self video through iMessage, that is going to be a game changer. Like people will connect so much more with videos like this. And then you tell them, hey, I just sent you a few videos that explains everything what we do. You send them the credibility package that includes all these videos and all these things. And guess what? Oh, we're going to also send you a few emails that will help you solve this specific issue you have. Boom. It's a quick video. You send it to them. Use it with iMessage. If you don't have iMessage, still okay. It's totally okay to do it with like Android. That's okay too. When is that video exactly sent? After they have opted in and you're not able to get them on the phone just yet, right? So you call, you didn't get them on the phone, boom, to a video. They book an appointment, okay? You're looking to get them on the phone, do a triage or a discovery call. You couldn't, but they're booked an appointment. You send that video as well, right? You send that video as part of the follow-up for them to follow your processes, right? And then I want you guys to send relevant testimonials similar to their situation. I kid you not, this is like huge because a lot of people forget that the best marketing in the world is proof that you already have done this before for others. So if you are able to manufacture these videos, even if it is like a short form video that lives in YouTube, and then it's someone that you helped move out of extreme bad situation, be like, hey, we helped Mary here. This was the situation. Obviously, you got to be able to create that video really well, but this is an example of someone. You can create that material, right? If Mary is doing the testimonial herself, that's even better and so on, because it's going to tell them, what was the result? Who is she? What was it before working with you? And what is it that they do for what is it that you did for her? And then like whether, they recommend working with you or not, right? Like that's kind of like my 5-step framework on like requesting a testimonial. And then obviously, I mean, speed to lead is everything. We talked about this. Everyone talks about this, but if you guys are not calling these leads, within 5 minutes, or even like trying to triage this lead, even if they book an appointment within 5 minutes, like they will find another investor who will actually contact them, right? There's a few optimizations called schedule optimization techniques, like SMS and email 1 hour before, 15 minutes before, missed call, voicemail, follow up if they don't answer. These are a few different reminder things that you got to do in order to remind them about an appointment for them to show up if they book an appointment. But I feel like everyone kind of knows this. And try 2 times in a day to confirm appointments and essentially triage appointments. So you want to be able to call them before the appointment to essentially triage the appointment. So you are able to get them into your funnel. Like, hey, here, consume this material before we ever talk, right? So here's a few, checklists of what needs to happen. The ad messaging to be, very relevant and the same. The targeting to be, the landing page, the application form, the confirmation page, follow up, the setter and / lead manager alignment, and making sure that you have optimized your call schedule, right? So these are kind of the things, guys, that will make you more relevant and differentiate yourself from anybody that is not doing this, so that in the closing call, You just dive into their actual issues and how you're going to solve this. You know what I mean? And then people are essentially going to be more pre-sold and will have a much easier time making the decision of selling with you as opposed to anybody else, or selling with you at all, right? So I'm sharing with you guys this essentially high level lead journey, and I'm sharing with you guys this document of the VSL, and I'm sharing you guys the landing page templates as well, so you guys can actually do it similarly. Okay, as well as I'm gonna share with you guys this right here. There you go. The best practices checklist. Right in here. And that's it. That's my video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys ever need help with lead gen and getting better leads, ask Brian. He actually buys leads from us on GetSellers.io, because we actually generate leads from different channels like Google, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and we sell them on lead packages. And Brian is so far having success with 1 out of 14 leads to a deal. And I'm gonna help more people. So help me help more people for you guys. And that's about it for this video. I'll see you guys in the next office hours. If you guys loved it, please let me know. And give me a thumbs up, like this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is youtube.com/Estenik, I think so. Right here. There you go. @Estenik, where we're putting all these videos in here on a weekly basis. All right. So have a good Friday, Contract Friday. Hope you like this. I'll drop the link of the YouTube channel in here. Mr. Mo Matthews. Good sir. All right. Thank you guys. Have a good one. And let's close more deals today.
Every Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern, we go this deep on what's actually working for real estate investors right now. Completely free. Stay tuned for the next session. Link to join the community is in the description.